Good evening, folks. Well, we have another of those underhand bills being shoved in while you were all in the kennel. Or actually, you might have just been released from the kennel in June. This is the local electricity bill. Did you know? Contents, purpose, local electricity suppliers, amendment of Electricity Act 1989, short title, commencement and extent. So this is an amendment of the Electricity Act 1989. Okay. It says a bill to enable electricity generators to become local electricity suppliers and for connected purposes. Connected purposes. Okay, what might that be then? Well, I would suggest to you that the license to achieve this position would be that A, this new 5G network they're putting up everywhere takes priority over the domestic usage. Now, I know that might sound odd, but believe you me, if you look at these towers closely, the amount of juice they take is immense. So I would suggest one of those would be that they have to prioritise at all times the Internet of Things and this military grade surveillance system. And it connected purposes. Oh, that's an open door. So that's going to include singing and dancing, testing and tracing, nobody testing and tracing, cut electric off. Sounds a bit odd, but does it really sound odd now that you've been running around in masks for 3 months? Yeah, it's not that odd really, is it? So connected purposes, that's the dangerous little bit I don't like. It says be enacted by the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Lords Spiritual and Temporal and Commons, in this present Parliament assembled, and by the authority of the same as follows. Now, the Commons has claimed sovereignty, so this is not making any sense whatsoever, and it's a private member's bill. Private member's bill. Right? So that's going to be serving the private. Who's this going to serve? Who's going to be given the licenses? Can you see that? This is what they're shoving in while you're all diverted. COVID's a diversion, and get you on the dancing, testing, trace, vaccination. See you later. So by 2030, they have to have this mask system in place, and by 2050, they want the entire system in place. Just gives you a bit of a timeline there. Purpose. The purpose of this act is to encourage and enable the local supply of electricity. Local electricity suppliers. An electricity generator may be a local electricity supplier. In this section, electricity generator has the same meaning as in Section 6 of the Electricity Act 1989. A local electricity supplier must hold a local electricity supply licence and adhere to the conditions of that local electricity supply licence. Amendment of the Electricity Act 1989. The Electricity Act 1999 is amended as follows. In Section 6, licence authorising supply, etc., after subsection 1D, insert DA, a licence authorising a person to supply electricity to premises within a designated local area. A local electricity supply licence. Now, they're using the term premises. So, define that, and we know what this is aimed at, because this is how you get out of it. Because they'll have tons of loopholes for themselves, of course, so they're not tied in with this nonsense. Then it says, after Section 6, insert, so they're inserting this next change, amendment, 6ZA local electricity supply licences, subject to it exercising its other functions under this Act, the Gas and Electricity Markets Authority, the authority, may grant a local electricity supply licence to a person, that can be a corporation, that can be anybody, anything, okay, that's not alive. Sorry, where have I got a bit lost there? That's it. License to a person who meets local electricity supply license conditions. Other functions. Keywords here we're getting. Other functions. It says 2. The authority must set local electricity supply license conditions. So the Electricity Markets Authority, the authority, what's that then? Who controls that? Who's the beneficiary of that? Electricity Markets Authority. Want to have a look at, people? I haven't looked at it. Have a look. Because it's the authority. On premises. Remember, that's important as well. Premises. Electricity to premises. The authority must specify the designated local area for each local electricity supply license. So the authority then is going to designate the areas. It's a lot of power. We should never ever have privatised our energy grid, gas grid, ports, airports. They can only have you singing and dancing till they even come into the country because they're privatised. It is the duty of the authority to ensure that any fees or other costs of an application for a local electricity supply licence are, in its view, proportionate to the size of the applicant's business, and the conditions of the local supply licence are as simple and straightforward as is consistent with the authority fulfilling its principal objective and general duties under section 3A. So what are the authorities? What's its principal objective and general duties? 5G. You'll cut your stuff off to keep this crap going. They're trying to put everything on the electric. Internet of Things, buses, trams, cars, everything electric. You're not really going to get any in your house. I'm telling you now. You're not going to get any in your house. You'll have to stay outside and plug your fingers in to the car chargers just to get a bit of heat. And then run back your ass. Stick your fingers under the covers to warm it up. That's the future. Okay, it says 4. Before making any specification under subsection 3, the authority must consult any relevant local authority, any existing local electricity suppliers, any persons who have, to the knowledge of the authority, expressed an interest in becoming local electricity suppliers, any other person who, in its opinion, has an interest in that matter. So basically, they're setting themselves up there to tell nobody except. So if we wanted to know what's crack, we'd have to be in council or police or fire brigade now, which thinks it's running up and down on streets like some kind of action man. They're only going to have to inform those who have an interest or are applying for the licence. So you don't get to know nothing. The authority may specify different designated local areas and different local electricity supply licence conditions for different local supply licences. So the more money you've got, the more chance you've got of getting electricity in your house. Because you've probably got that many gadgets in your house already that they can surveil you from every orifice of your home, including from the toilet. So that makes sense. You ruffians out there that wear jumpers and don't talk the Queen's English. You don't watch Coronation Street or EastEnders. You're not getting electric. Sorry. You're not getting it. Them that's in are getting it. So, now you can look at these little villages and little towns who, out of the ordinary, appear to have wind turbines at the doorstep. Because if you look into that, what you'll find is there's a predominance of a certain section of society that like to keep things secret. Wink, wink. Shake, shake, nod, nod. Take note of that, because there are areas all over the shore, and for some reason they have their own wind turbines. That's why they're not going to have any disruption whatsoever in the shindig. Okay. Open your beepers and take a look at the world around you, how it's all been set up, because now we can show you what I used to harp on about years ago, but everybody was going like, this guy's crazy. No, I'm not. I was just fantastic before you recognised it. So keep your eyes out now, because this is what you'll see all over the shop. That's where they're at. If you want to know where the nests are, follow the wind turbines. Alright, enough said. This act may be cited as a Local Electricity Act 2020. This act, other than this section, comes into force on such date as the Secretary of State may, by regulations, appoint. The power to make regulations under this section is exercisable by statutory instrument. Ooh. So they're going to turn it into a commodity. So it's going into the lease revenue system. Certificate of participation. The Secretary of State may not make regulations under this section which apply to Scotland without first consulting the Scottish ministers. So that's Jimmy Cranky up there in Scotland that's trying to look like a female badly. You've got to ask her first. Right. This act extends to England and Wales and Scotland. So you jokes are not escaping it, and it's colder up there. You need it more than us. You know what I'm saying? Yanks have nicked all North Sea oil. You've had it. You better get back to rubbing 2 pieces of wood together, lads, and get some forest grown, because you might easily be building campfires in your ass. That ends the local electricity bill, save for a bill to enable electricity generators to become local electricity suppliers and for connected purposes, presented by, remember this is a private member's bill, Peter Aldous, supported by Sir Graham Brady, a hoity-toity, Rosie Duffield, Vera Hobhouse, Dame Diana Johnson, David Johnson, Ben Lake, Caroline Lucas, John McNally, John Penrose, Selene Saxby, and a Mr. Barry Sherman. Ordered by the House of Commons to be printed 10th of June 2020. Okay, Parliamentary Copyright House of Commons, so we'll put that up because that belongs to us, because Parliament belongs to us. Now, of course, it is the Westminster Childcare Centre. It also houses the infirm, inbred and Alzheimer's sufferers. I think it's probably done that for a lot longer than we think. So, there is the local electricity bill snooked in while you're in the kennel with the mask on. So I'll say, until the next time.